Hello and welcome to This and That. I'm Dave Lees.
And I'm Jonathan Byer, and it's late on a Monday, Dave. How you doing?
I am tired, but going to push through. This is the skating lesson. We are going to discuss all things happening in figure skating this week. So if you are new here, please subscribe below and smash that like button because we have had long days, weekends. You know, the scheduling this weekend was a little crazy, and we have this and that, and I had to get up this morning and leave the house at 6 to go film for work and drive to Homedale, and it's to film.
Dave, I'm in the middle of filming holiday concerts. So it's like not cold enough outside, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to watch the Russian skating, and oh my gosh, this thing in Las Vegas. It's been nutty.
We film very different things. I mean, how are you feeling about home health care this season?
Probably same as I have in the past.
When do you think it's the right time to have that important conversation with your loved ones about? Right. Okay. We are just like really transitioning into like work, Dave. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Very different. Okay. Yes. So
we have our own important discussions to have, Dave, with loved ones and each other here.
There are, well, some of our big loved ones I'm thinking about a lot because, because Nationals is virtual, the qualifications are different this year. So usually we take 12 from sectionals to nationals plus the buys. This year, because of the bubble situation in Vegas, because we found like the reddest state. It's so red we can't even but actually
except they went blue.
They go blue, yeah. But with the restrictions, they're in Vegas. They're a little loose. We have to let the gamblers in. Okay, and Oksana,
it's really because they're not mutually exclusive, but this really has become like the new skating hub.
You know what? I like it. I'm ready. I was ready to go back, but we don't have this. I just don't like the smell of, well, I guess I don't know. The smoke is so severe when you're walking around, plus the dry throat from being in the desert. So you really feel sick. And during Corona, I'm sure that I would feel like I'm dying. I'd probably have like hypochondria up the max because I felt like I was so dry last year. And then that.
Totally.
Anyway, rough times during Corona. I feel like
it's true. Yeah.
Take my temperature. But oh my goodness. So because the hub in Vegas, so if we have, I was thinking about this, John. So we have how nationals are going to go for senior ladies. It's the top 5 from last year, plus the top 4 from the ISP challenge who weren't in the top 5 from nationals. So that's how they got everyone to participate. And then it'll be 9 from the virtual qualifier situation.
Which in all essence is just a virtual sectionals
kind of, yeah, yes. Regional / sectionals all at once, right?
Okay.
All at once. Right. Okay. So I'm wondering about some of our loved ones because there's been scuttlebutt that Ting's father is trying to redo her jump technique, with all of his experience in skating.
These parents get out of the way.
To jump like the Russians, and he's taking charge of that training this year. Then we have Hannah Harrell, who was injured and had some foot and ankle stuff, is in Boston, and apparently she is jumping, but will she be ready? Who knows? It's in your home rink. And we have like a bunch of these on the bubble kids. You've got like Gabby Izzos and Millie Murdochs. And then you have like people around the country that, are old faithfuls, like a Paige Rydberg. You can always count on her to like kind of look like Ashley Kane, but not. And so, like if Ashley Kane is ever too injured to skate in the pair, I think we just put Paige.
Put Paige on. Yeah, she's the understudy. Okay.
Also, I'm really trying hard. If someone in Russia can please screen record that Unbroken documentary and Google Drive it to me, it's all I want to watch. Okay. For some reason, this Ashley and Tim documentary comes out and like we can't see it in the US. And
it's with Zabiako and Enbert, right? They were also on the cover of this sort of preview poster. I didn't understand if this was like a joke promo for like a Nina.
No, it looks like a joke because of the front cover, the way that it looks like a spoof, but
it's real a cut and paste job. Yeah.
Come on. Don't you want to see like the Russians talk about a pair where they're really tall and they got like in a lift accident and the guy's really gay? I mean, think about how the Russians would handle
Eat that up. Yeah.
Right. Incredible.
They were two surprising choices. So I'm intrigued what this whole thing really is.
Oh my God, I went down a rabbit hole this weekend because I was looking at like the archives of Channel 1 documentaries. I mean, they have documentaries on every skater. Like you can watch Alexei Yagudin, like you could pay for him to get like, to watch him get his hip like worked on. They have some documentary. Anyway, this like interesting stuff going on.
Okay.
So lots of drama. But anyway, so do you think that Gracie Gold and Courtney Hicks will make the nationals this year?
No, I do not. I do not, especially like.
Are they ready to cut the cord? Is Lori Parker going to help them? Or is she just going to let them? Because remember, people always think that the USFS drops you, but usually what happens is like, they just like stop giving you the inflated points. And then you like fall and you're like, what happened to me? Because compared to everyone else, it looks like you get no points.
Right.
So,
but maybe they're just finally evening the odds here. I mean, Gracie at ISP and then at Skate America, I don't think inspires anyone to sort of boost her scores on her behalf. And this idea of ratings this, ratings that, I don't
think she's going to get ratings.
Understand.
We already did that.
We've done that story several times, in fact, and I don't know that it's still the story.
Well, I would like to, I can't even say that. Well, I would like to see her skate well. I think we have to be realistic. If we're only taking so many skaters, you want to take the talent that has the best shot of having a competitive future. So I would be very—
Well, and this is a tricky thing. Yeah, like I know that there's this idea that she's earned something or deserves something, but also then you are taking away from a real growth opportunity from someone up and coming whose life could be changed by a spot at nationals, who's getting valuable experience. And I think it's very clear, maybe having watched the Vegas, first I was confused, Dave, and I watched an hour of they called it the Las Vegas Skating Spectacular.
Jonathan, I gave you my DVR to log into.
And then I watched that. Okay. Yeah, so fear not, I have watched both situations. But the first one, I was so irate when I realized I lost an hour of my life I'll never get back, watching all those exhibitions. And you're like, gosh, I know we've talked about it several times on the show, but USFS, like, come on, we need to cultivate some new talent here and stop just heralding these old standbys.
Well,
and that would be the point of case. If we have another nationals with a Courtney and a Gracie, we're denying 2 spots to people that could really make a move and grow from it. So I just don't know that it's entirely in the USFS's best interest to do that.
Okay, so I think, unfortunately, kids quit if they don't make nationals. It happens every year. The parents are going to get dramatic during COVID. That's going to be exponentially huge factor of money that goes in. It's more expensive to skate now. If you can, it's challenging and frustrating. I think they're really going to have to earn it. And based on how they performed earlier this season, I don't know if they can get it done. Well, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We haven't seen everyone else, so I'm curious to see what will happen, but I don't know. Sentimentality only goes so far.
For so long.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. We've played out a couple of narratives, but
they could squeak in. You don't know who's going to compete, who's not. We should let Paulina Edmonds be one of the judges. She would have a lot of thoughts. Yeah.
We know she's a commentator, but let's see how she does at the actual judging.
So if you're Arthur Liu, do you let Alyssa go to Nash? Because, okay, Tara and Johnny were sticking to their talking points regardless of what was happening on the screen. They were just being like, and her first jump is triple axel.
As if anyone thought this is, and now just to be clear, I had not realized, because they didn't quite call it this. It was the Las Vegas Invitational, I think was the formal title of it. And then for it to be Johnny versus Tara thing.
They did a Dick versus Peggy back in the day when I was cutting those videos over the summer. It was just as cheesy, but they did more fun programs. There was more Rosalind Sumners and Celine Dion.
Yeah, and it was the whole thing that we grew up. And could you imagine, like, if you're one of these skaters being like, Team Tara, like, I don't know. I don't know that was necessary.
Nathan's interview was hysterical. Like, he could not care. It's funny, Tara gets really into it. And like into her kind of like persona that she's developed. Johnny tries to, it's just really strange and awkward with the outfit, the whole deal.
And he's probably exhausted because he's also filming Dancing with the Stars still, you know what I mean? So
how good, he's making his point during quarantine, okay? He could be doing a lot worse, okay?
Yeah, totally, but I think you can see that exhaustion.
Honey. I don't feel bad for him. You get $350,000 if you are a finalist in Dancing with the Stars, Jonathan.
Oh shit.
Yes. Don't cry for him. Okay.
Okay.
He's in the semifinals right now. So he's at least making 200-ish.
Pretty impressive.
Plus this, for that level of talent, I mean, come on, okay? Don't cry for him, okay?
Yeah, fear not.
His dancing's not that good, okay? They don't practice
exactly.
like Christy Yamaguchi and Meryl Davis days. We're not seeing that level of effort.
But don't you also think that, like, when the network gives them these things, like, I can't imagine it actually had that much say. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure Tara is playing the role she's being asked to play. And I think inherently Johnny maybe even knows that, like, this premise is...
He knew what to do. Look, they are slick. They knew not to point out any under-rotated jumps during this entire broadcast. And they were like...
which there were several. There were a lot here. It was a bit of an epidemic.
They were trying to play it in a pro-am way, but it was confusing because they were giving them like quasi-real scores, except not really talking about big mistakes. And they were saying that everyone looked great, even though we have eyes. It was really confusing. They should have done like the pro-am kind of numbers. This is where skating gets it wrong. This is how the Japan pro event doesn't really work because they still do it under the IJS. And they don't just do the old kind of pro-am system programs, and these kids don't learn how to skate that way, and it doesn't work. Just watch like Arina Sotskaya trying to do an IJS spin at like age 40. Like it's a little awkward, okay?
Right.
And yeah, and you don't get the...
So do you think like a cute thing where like some celebrity judges were giving like out of 10 or something, like dig in, like go all the way and just make like a fun...
I mean, we don't need Bella Caroli judging and like James Brown, but I think like, the whole thing like Frank Carroll would judge and like be in his tuxedo with his little like law library light and like Urena ribbons like with the whip like around them and then being like 9.9, 9.8 could be very effective. Okay, Nathan 10. Okay, like come on, 10. Like get with it. All right. That made no sense. It had no energy. There were cardboard people. Okay.
Right.
Could have had Dick Button judging at home over Zoom, and they had time to tape delay and edit that. So like I don't get why. Okay.
Yeah.
Come on. I would have Dorothy. Michelle.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing. Like, make it like truly like one of those pro-am events from the '90s, and just go all in.
All the old queens. Okay.
It would have been have Michelle there judging.
She's very busy. You know what? Her campaign had Michelle.
Yeah, exactly.
Give everyone a 10.
She'd be judging for Team Johnny, I guess.
I don't know. The whole deal is just. It didn't work.
But some used it well. Like I have to say, the people that benefited was Audrey Shin. I thought showed that she was consistent. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that could have been another moment where she didn't.
Doing another competitive long program, half of them looked half dead. Okay, they've had coronavirus. They haven't had proper training, and then to do that many competitions and that, it's a long time. It's weird. The energy was so strange. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I have real questions about whether Mariah Bell can deliver nationals now. It's not that she was bad here, but she's been really tight. And if you look at how she's skated all season, first ISP decent, but no content. Second ISP, the free was very shaky. Good short here, long, extremely tight to barely pull off a victory. And they're helping her. And then the long here was really rough and tight.
And they helped her again. So, I mean, they're sending their message. And the irony being, of course, that we wondered if part of Bradie's motivation to moving to Tom was to gain favor, but the US judges seem to be very clearly in the Mariah camp here.
Well, she technically outscored Mariah in this fake competition because Mariah did so poorly, but it was razor thin between the two of them. But Bradie looks tight to me when she's
a lot of okay, so it's interesting because this is the closest thing the US has ever done to like a US skater propaganda event. Like we see Russia do these things where they're basically like, look at all of these amazing skaters we have, and we all tune in and they're all amazing. And so when we tried to do it, it was just very clear, like, okay, here's our senior ladies, everybody's tight, everybody's under rotating, everybody's kind of two-footing. I don't understand what it set out to achieve.
It was, well, you know, they want to give these skaters more TV time. They want to try to grow the sport. They want to try to give them prize money. It's a time buy. The intentions are not bad. The execution is just not thought out well. And it's a rough.
I mean, Nathan used it really well. Let's see that quad loop. We're all talking about the quad loop again. You know, like he's someone that really utilized this choice. And again, I think Audrey Shin did a really important thing, which was show that that was no mistake.
Yeah. Nathan doing the quad loop, huge, gorgeous, like he had never stopped doing it. This program, the more times I see it, the less and less I like it.
It's just sort of, I'm owning that right now I'm a little tired. So I might be viewing some of these a bit more harshly now, but I just thought like, I would never go back and rewatch that. I would go back and rewatch the quad loop in slow-mo to scope it out, but this isn't a program I would ever Google on my own.
No, it clearly has the formula where it has like the little change in music at the very end for the choreographic sequence. It's become so formulaic. This is not Shaylin's best season. This is like, choreographically, this is the season when Shay and Victor decided to choreograph for themselves to that crooner free dance, and they were losing audio. And then like Shay got like a rough edit during the Lifetime Grand Prix broadcast, and Andrea Joyce was like, ooh, the Canadians are not happy. And then we did not see them again. I believe they were at the Russia where it really got tense. So I don't think you remember what I'm talking about, but it's okay. It's all right.
I remember the program. I remember the program, but I don't remember the ins and outs of what happened at Russia versus the final.
You know, they had a knee injury and they didn't go to the Worlds that year. And then they were with Tarasova the next year and they were like rebuilding their skating and they were wearing big Canadian flags doing the March With Me program. It was
another confusing program for me there.
Another confusion, yes. But yeah, this is Shaylin's in that period of her life. Like she has not yet discovered a fake pony and done a Michael Jackson program. She will rise again. It's okay. It's all right. Like
okay. We'll wait it out. We'll wait it out.
I'm not saying that we hate Shaylin. She just needs to like channel her inner Pasha Grishuk again. Okay? These people all have their peaks and valleys. It's fine. Okay. You know, there was that year that Sandra Bezic did a clown number on Stars on Ice. You know, everyone has their off moments. Okay.
Yeah, we're all human. We're all human.
All right.
Growth period.
We can't be perfect all the time. We can't be skinny all the time. It's just hard, Joe. Okay.
It's true. It's true.
So. All right. So what is your excuse to withdraw from nationals if you're Arthur Liu and you don't want Alyssa to like finish in 5th place and have to, the art?
Because it does
Phil Hirsch
seem
has been
clear.
kind. Phil Hirsch has not like written any like Mariah type articles about Alysa Liu. He has just been like not talking about how bad it is. He's just ignoring it and riding his bike. Okay. He is just like not letting anyone get mad at him this season. He is playing his cards right. And he is just like ignoring the fact that there is a train wreck situation happening in American skating right now.
But did you feel that the way she skated here was indeed better than the way she skated? What did you have me watch live?
That was like the day before exhibition. I think it's all one big pile of doo-doo. Okay. It is like bad situation. At least she pulled off a triple Lutz where she rotates on the toe off, and the takeoff is a real struggle for me. I think the program is abhorrent. Dear God, Jonathan, it is.
Yeah, do you sit it out? I mean, this is speaking of Shaylin. Should she get some wisdom teeth taken out?
You need to come up with Corona. You have to time Corona at the right time, though. You'd have to do it so that she misses like the ISP event, and then be like, oh, she never had enough time to get back. Because if anyone has COVID, you get the sympathy too. You're like, oh, yeah. Unless you're worried about the jump, people feel that you're not being safe. But I feel like you'd be like, oh, she's a kid, she has to go to school. Even if you cannot let that skater go out to nationals where there will actually be people paying attention who will actually like really rip her the real new one. And like be honest about it.
In your experience, have you seen someone in this type of situation pull through?
No.
I mean, oftentimes when this situation occurs and it seems to have thrown a wrench in the entire system, I think inevitably we now see the trickle off 2 seasons where they keep trying and can't quite figure it out. So I was just, as I was watching her, and I'm sympathetic, I can't imagine how difficult this must be. I just was trying to think of someone who comes through the other side. And I was sort of at a loss.
Not just that she is adjusting to like a growth spurt. The problem is bad technique, 0 skating skills. And besides the smile that Tara talks about, not really that much depth on the ice. What is there without the tricks? And the tricks that were kind of rotated off the toe and the weird axle, the fact that she used to be like a very feisty competitor, if you've ever seen her in person, the skating is quite small. And that's not just
and quite slow.
It's not her fault that the USFS got so behind her and boosted her, but she probably she shouldn't really have been in a position to win those national titles. Like she got components that maybe weren't based in reality, and maybe GOE, and everyone gets so behind the new thing in the US and it becomes this
all the ice in one basket.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately for her, it's going to be very difficult for her to train anywhere in the US where people aren't going to be talking and gossiping about her constantly. It's just because she's become such a phenom that I really think she does.
It's the double-edged sword of all that hype, and they really, even still, they are still pushing a narrative.
Well, that's why I can't believe that they actually went, because they obviously had to know that she wasn't skating that well. And you wonder, she was okay during it wasn't good during the ISP, but it wasn't that alarming, right? How much of this now is that, I was talking to Jenny and she made up a good point. She said, before the ISP, she had never even lost a domestic competition as a senior. So like, is it all getting in her head now too? It's not just the adjusting of the jumps. It's now like the pressure and what she's adjusting to, and the fact that she's dealing with all of this.
Well,
and she then
here's the thing.
Out.
And that's the thing. I don't see panic. I don't know, only obviously she knows what's going on, but I think that what we see failing her is a lack of technique and skating skills. I don't think it's like a mental game for her.
No, but I do think that when
she seems to.
when your technique fails, you're going to start to question yourself as you go into some of these jumps. Because there are some jumps that she doubles that I believe that she could pull in on and at least fight to do the triple on, whether she falls or not. But it seems like now there's a hesitation, right? And I think that's the bigger problem. And that you're going into a nationals where you know you're probably have zero chance of winning. I don't think that that's a good
It might be a struggle for her to medal.
Yeah. Like,
I mean,
final group. Like,
yeah.
I don't think it's a good situation to walk into. I actually would withdraw. I just would be like, we're regrouping.
Take the time. And again, if you're scrambling to get ready for nationals,
right? About this,
your training is totally different than if you're just kind of trying to ride this out and refine a technique. It becomes different if you have to deliver.
When she's skating, her posture is not adjusted to the new height in the same way. And she didn't have great posture before, but it's like really now that she's taller and they're trying to do this program that's almost artistic and it's just off. And she just needs time. And
so give it to
also,
her, like you're saying.
They need to like stop focusing on 2022 and maybe think like long game, like we're going to build and not put all of our, like that the world is going to end if she doesn't make the Olympics in 1 year. Okay, like maybe she won't beat these Atari girls, but that does, and maybe she won't be Olympic champion, but that doesn't mean that her whole worth as a human and a skater is right.
Of course, yes.
But I think that if you're like looking at it very narrow, like, well, she's not going to beat the Russians if she's not there next year. Well, that might be very well true, but that doesn't mean that
we have other people who would be instead.
Or that her worth as a skater should be defined by that.
Right.
No one will care. There'll be another Russian in 5 minutes. Like people left to Terry. She had Daria Sadkova. Like she moved on. Like people, then come on, moving on. It just But you know who's having a nice resurgence? Karen Chen. I
was thinking the same again because I was like getting negative Nancy about all this sort of stuff, and then she came out again, and I was like, man, she just does everything so lovely. Every pose.
That's Karen.
It reminded me of the sport that sometimes I'm struggling to remember.
She looked great.
Yeah.
Karen Chen for the bronze at nationals. Maybe this.
Yeah. I think she's showing that she's earning that too, in a different way this season.
So I think they're going to really push for that Audrey Shin to be on the podium. This is how that works. But I think it's going to be a lot of pressure. And I think Karen Chen is just, she's doing the most spins. I mean, Tara said that she had the best spins in the world. I don't agree with that necessarily.
No, but she does domestically, for sure.
Oh,
yeah.
For sure. Yes, beautiful spins.
Yeah.
Good edge quality.
Lovely extension. Mm-hmm. Good speed.
Skating to a Chinese classic, Butterfly Lovers. Like, my friend Jane, I'm like,
not running into the camera.
Jane, as a Chinese American figure skater, when did you first skate to Butterfly Lovers? And she's like, I did all the classics. Yellow River, Butterfly Lovers. Like, come on. Okay.
Amazing.
Rondo, like, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Listen.
And even in Russia, we got some Mulan programs this year.
We will get to that. Okay.
Okay.
Otherwise, from this ISP event, Ilya Malinin still on the up and up. Still haven't figured out why he took the mother's last name and not the father's. Write to us about that. Not judging, just curious. Like, oh, that's unusual.
Yeah.
Also, Star could work on her skating skills as well, and looking like she enjoys the free program.
Yeah, that was a tough watch for me. Like, barely left the ice, kind of.
But she did pull off triple toe that had height. But then at other times she doesn't. It's like but
yeah, it seems chaotic when I look, and I would imagine there's chaos around her training or something.
Everyone is going through such transition with COVID. It's just all like a challenging time.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes Victor just leaves you and goes to Russia, and then you're, with Galina, and she's changing your jump entrances. I mean, Jonathan, you don't know what COVID is like, okay? It's like, okay.
Yeah. And it's, again, you see some people really surging forward and some people really struggling to find their way here.
I if only we only had Galina's strength, just. The other day she was like, you watched Trusova? I was like, yes, I watched Trusova. I'm like, what'd you think, Galina? And I was like, trying to gauge.
What does that mean?
Good about it. I was like, yeah, pretty good. She's like, maybe bad for Russia, pretty good for everybody else. She goes, I was like, that is a vibe.
Interesting. Yeah, because I'm behind this.
Like the fact that like a Russian would have a mistake, like, oh dear, but she was saying that she was amazing. Okay, that's like how.
Yeah.
It's a whole vibe that I can't express in person. But yeah,
it's good.
She was a real taskmaster this week. There was just like, she
was in the zone with you. Okay.
Oh my God. We were like, I have a new flip entrance. And like, she was just like, she wants me to do a Lutz from like a back power pole that like, I don't think I'm a good enough skater to do. And she, she's just like really.
But she believes in you, Dave.
Left arm. Where the left arm? You have to bend left arm, friend. Shoulder. This, like when you borrow Antosh stick, like these, power like this. Yes. If only my body would do what my mind would like it to do at the moment. Yeah.
There's a total coordination thing that has to happen, and it takes time, doesn't it?
Don't be upset. The Olympics are not tomorrow. Do not be upset.
Okay. And did that make you feel better? What made me feel better? Okay, good.
Apparently Victor is home. She made Victor get a printed out coronavirus test before he could show up at her house to visit her.
Okay.
Because, Vika was at the house. And she was like, he had to go to the doctor's office that she chose to get his coronavirus test. This is life of
the one that gives her the lowdown
dealing
afterwards.
We're dealing with a boss right here, right? So I was like, Victor, do you want to help me with my Lutz? Or maybe tell Galina I'm not good enough to do this entrance? Yes, Dave, I'm in America for 2 weeks. Like, the English is very convenient when they want it. When they want to avoid a topic, all of a sudden. Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. It's okay. We're gonna get it. It's
I believe you will. Of course you will.
There'll be a lot of toil. Back left power pole, not my best move. That wasn't a good ankle for years, but like now, it has to deliver, baby. It has to deliver. Okay. Just
don't fail me now. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna get really good at it. Mm-hmm. It's just the process.
Believe. Send it into the universe, Dave. What do you secrete it?
Remember how Oksana used to be like?
Well, Johnny did it like 300 times, I felt. He was
coached by Galina too, okay? I mean, listen, okay?
You're her new Johnny.
No, but I've never gotten pomegranate juice, okay? Like, it's not like
Okay.
I mean, so I'm trying to redo my flip entrance, and I always did it from a mohawk forever, right? But when I started taking it from Galina, we tinkered with the entrance.
Wait, not a mohawk, a C-step. Is that right?
C-step, yes. I always did it from a C-step, Jonathan. I don't want to offend the mohawk people.
Community, yeah.
The mohawk community. So I always did it from a C-step, right? And for some reason, we like changed the entrances that I always did into it. And as soon as, like, with Galina's powerful personality, I felt like I was going back for like almost like a backflip. Like I just felt like a little too straight and going back in the air. So we switched it to a 3-turn, but we like did like the long left inside entrance. And then she wants me to tap with my toe pick, like really lightly. And the tap is the hardest part to hit the right level of like, duh. Like you just want to like you're just like really like glamorous, like, I mean, like just raking.
Just testing the water, yeah. Okay.
But like I'm like an adult skater, and I'm like like I'm like I'm really glad you break it. I'm trying
More
not.
of a thud than a tap. Okay.
Babe, you skate like my dog. You skate like my dog. Okay, yes.
But she loves her dog. She loves her dog.
This
So she
is
loves you.
dog. This is the dead dog, and
Oh.
apparently I don't think she was as refined as Oscar. I think Mimi was a little bit more. Also, I confirm. I said, Galina, those Cantu sisters, they both messaged me, and they said that you liked one much better than the other. It is true. It is true. She goes.
Well, she's honest. She's honest.
Very honest. Okay. So maybe Mimi couldn't get that flip entrance thing right either. Okay, but it's working very well. It's like solved.
You're getting there.
Yes. The one day I didn't know like what she wanted, and then I watched Oksana and I was like, oh, okay, I kind of get what she wants. Okay. Like you just.
That's kind of interesting though, that like because of her lineage, you can now go back and sort of see the technique in action.
Yeah.
Like when you were watching Victor, and you're now seeing his axle approach.
I started doing that when I worked with him to like get it in my head. So
yeah.
You watch and you're like, oh, okay.
But it's an incredible resource to have.
It's good. It is good. Yes. Now, I have to get new boots too, which is like such a problem because I have this feeling, Jonathan, that like I'm going to get new boots. By the time I get the new boots, and you spend the money, and then I think the rings might close down any moment. They're closing in Illinois for 3-4 weeks. They're closing here, like in Seattle and in other places. So it's real. It's a time.
Just wear them around the house, break them in.
Yes. Yeah. That's
how that works. Yeah.
You can. Okay. I try to like reduce my crazy. Okay. Like I try to limit like how insane I allow myself to like admit being, right?
No, you're not insane, but you are intense. You get a laser focus on something.
Right. So like when someone asks me to like do adult pairs, sorry, I have limits. Okay. Like I just
even I know when to say no. Okay.
No, I did see a girl this weekend. She was trying to play off that she wasn't that intense too. Her name is Noelle. She's friends with Aviva, the queen of all adult skaters. And she was saying to me like, oh, like I don't have a coach right now, but I used to skate. Like she passed both of her adult gold tests. I'm like, okay. I already did this before I met her. Like someone else told me like, oh, there's a new girl and she passed both of her adult gold. I'm like, okay, got it. So like, I was like talking, being friendly. And she's very happy. She's a kindergarten teacher. So she's like that level of happy, like on a Saturday morning at hour in a freezing rink because the Montclair State Arena has new owners who keep it like frozen. It's not the same as the old owners when it was Floyd Hall. So I was like, oh, and like I see her and she's like, oh, I haven't skated. I just want to test things out. Like she does her axle and she's like trying her double sow. And then she like all of a sudden whips out her old program to Dreamcatcher, the Tara Lipinski Ice Wars number. Like, yes, Shcherbakova used it later, but this girl's like my age. So like I'm gathering that she did not like become inspired by Anna Shcherbakova. Like I'm like, I understand that. Yeah. Right. Like, she was like, then I like find her on Facebook and I realized this girl videotaped the whole lesson and like knew to put her camera upstairs at the rink to like record all of her jumps at the right angle. That is a level of intensity, Jonathan, that like we didn't even plan.
No, existed. Yeah.
We tried to play it off like, do you know Aviva? I think she told me you'd be in the class. And I was like, okay, so this girl knew exactly what she was doing.
She's a hustler, baby.
A hustler. But I was like, maybe we should ice dance together. Couldn't you picture us like doing the compulsory waltzes? Yeah.
Yes, because listen, I get it. You're living out an Oksana thing right now. You are with Galina and Victor and you're
not really an Oksana thing, but it's just like a skating thing. But I want to be Maya Usova, okay?
Bingo. Or Klimova.
I don't have the hair, okay?
With the big crucifix moments and lying on the parallel to the ice. Yeah. I think Dave, I think that's the actual calling. You were supposed to be the other Oksana.
Oh my God, I was watching Novka with Sam Vel. People always talk about this guy, Sam. Okay, so there's a rink in Brooklyn where all the Russian Jews practice, like all together. Needs a reality show at the Aviator.
Okay.
And there's this guy, Sam Vel, who all adult skaters have taken from at some point in time. And he's supposedly like a pretty good coach with like a real caustic sense of humor. But the interesting backstory there is that he skated with both Pasha Grishuk and Tatiana Novka. And like, let me tell you, honey, like that is some lineage, okay? And people will be like,
right?
Never taken from some Vel? Like, and he's like not really that friendly at all. And you just have to.
It takes a type that could do that.
You know, at one point in time, I will have to venture into Brooklyn. You know, we'll need to just like
get the passport renewed, get to Brooklyn. Okay.
I know. You know, I was going to skate with Andrew Laverick at one point in time. That went by the wayside. So that was, you know.
Seems you have other options available to you now. Yeah.
You know, we'll just find another Russian. Okay, we can just. They're all the same, really. You know, like it's just.
Hope not. Then he won't be able to coach you either.
Okay. Anyway, moving along to Russia. Well, in very sad news this week, Igor Moskvin passed away. And I actually was watching, they filmed a documentary on him called Igor Moskvin, 90. And it was about his 90th anniversary, his 90th birthday. And it's a pretty good film. It's on YouTube. I'll link to it in the comments because otherwise you have to search for it. You have to go to the Cyrillic and then you do have to do like the subtitles and the translation, but it's worth it. You can make out enough of what is happening. So it looked like they went on their honeymoon with the Protopopovs. I was like unsure, like when did he stop?
Just double dates, yeah.
But he does say that like Moskvina and Mishin were the first time that he decided to put like two strong single skaters together. And you see him helping our girl Boikova with her triple Salchow. So like 90 years old in the ring.
Yeah. Okay.
So yes,
But you know, very, very sad news. And of course, the only person I know who after their husband has immediately passed and then shows up at a competition like 2 seconds later would be Tamara Moskvina.
Yes. And the one thing that I think was lost, because all the fans were so focused on the laser focus that she was there at the competition, but she was in Kazan, right? She's from St. Petersburg. Was she even with him when he passed? Because she was at the competition.
I didn't think about it.
And was he really like ill before? Everyone's being like really quiet about like him passing. It's like very sad. Also, all the boys in their school had corona. So I think everyone is just like really trying to like not go there about any of it.
Yeah.
And just feeling for her. And, you know, they had such a close bond and he's such a legend. And so, yes, Galina was like, he had a beautiful life. So many top skaters he working with. You know, like they were.
As if that defines a beautiful life, yeah.
For some people, Jonathan, it really does. Okay.
I think so. We're learning, yeah.
Okay. I mean, he never got to work with me, but you know, like, I mean, he was in Hackensack once upon a time as well. All right. Remember, he coached Kyoko Ina and John Zimmerman when they went to lunch together. He was the one.
That's right, their weekly lunch. Yes. To connect. Yeah. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But you know what? They helped them so much. They gave them a real identity when they worked with them.
I know. And he coached that Igor Bobrin, who, if you read the that book about the pairs, oh my God, the second mark. If you read the second mark, that whole book is about how much Bereshnaya and Sikorelitsa loved that Charlie Chaplin program by Igor Bobrin. It was like, oh, the best program ever. And people just didn't appreciate how good it was. And that was his student for them. So anyway, like, and apparently at one point in time, she was coaching Volova Vasilyev and he had Selezhneva Makarov, and it was like a very interesting dynamic in the marriage that we don't talk about. But it was intense.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Because like that was her team, this was his team, man. Yes. And they don't go there. So just but,
it was the secret. Yeah, it was the secret to making that relationship work, I would imagine.
Yes. So anyway.
But her teams did very well here.
But yeah, I was wondering, like, was she even with him, like, when it happened? But then she had, like, a good quote. She's like, I could either be in my room and cry all day, or he could tell me, you already did the job, go out and finish. I'm like, well,
yeah.
Being that it's her, I would expect nothing less, okay? But
and I find in these moments, like, grief often is so delayed that I can't even imagine it's set in for her yet. And now she'll be at Cup of Russia this next week, you know, like, I would imagine it's coming.
In that situation.
It might be after nationals.
I go into shock in that situation. So I would probably be there, but not really be there at the ring. You know, like just, and she seemed not her full self, this competition.
Oh my God. Yeah, exactly.
So, but what I thought is so interesting is that her husband passes, and she's two of the top pair teams in Russia, arguably the top two, even though they were first and third here. Mishina Galliamov skating to the Queen program, but with a triple in
the Sal Euler Sal. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and legitimate, legitimate. Okay, not the old Stolbova Rosano combination where the second triple toe was like turned on the ice.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, like, isn't that interesting? She's going potentially, like, let's say that this is her last hurrah in coaching. She's going out on top in a major way.
She has surged back, in fact, you know, because for a while she kind of was not as prominently, you know, featured at competitions because she didn't have top contenders. And now for her to have these top two, what a comeback.
And it impresses me more because remember, Nina Mosier just like had a moment where she had all of these teams that were like perfectly matched together. Tarasova, Morozov, Volozhin and Trankov, even like Stolbova and Klimov, like they all just like worked. But then you look at it and you're like, Tarasova and Morozov just like cannot get it together through all of their natural gifts. There is something.
Same with Stolbova and Klimov in many ways. I mean, yes, they have the Olympic silver, obviously, a huge deal, but like really that was the day the planets all aligned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes. And you look at this and you're like, these teams have limitations. Like Boikova, not Evgenia Tarasova by any stretch of like a natural, just like extended girl with like, you know, ballet lines for days. And somehow she's made them like more interesting.
Yeah.
In a way, like I'm more interested to watch their programs. Like they've really worked and found positions that work for them and choreography. It's interesting, even though I wish Kozlovskii had a new program.
Because I mean, we've got Boikova on the one end, where they're doing some interesting stuff and pretty consistently delivering, and then we've got Galliamov and this team over here, interesting and landing these incredible combinations. And it's in the middle. We have the ones that should be doing it all and are so inherently gorgeous and stunning. And I will tell you what, we have seen too many American pairs. Seeing this event, I was like, oh, right, lives can be beautiful. Like, lives can be the highlight of a program. Every single one of them made a moment. And here I am after like Skate America thinking like, the list this year must just be really wonky, the requirements. And then I look here, Tarasova and Morozov, after they did the throw triple loop in the free, and she's just like up there with no hands, and he like sets her down in the most exquisite, interesting way. You're like, man, do they just know how to do pairs elements over there? Like, it's just insane. But a little bit, they're still resting on their laurels because they have all of the natural gifts, but they don't seem to be cultivating. And the new program for Tarasova and Morozov, despite that gorgeous lift moment, man, was that music really tough for me to listen to.
Why can they never find music? We don't want Candyman. We don't want like...
whatever that screaming pop music was, or whatever that was.
Last year's was awful. This year's is terrible. This year's is like my soul dies in the middle of it. Like they look like they hate each other. They hate skating it. They hate the music. They're ready for their careers to like fast forward a year and maybe be done. It's like, what is going on with this team? Like I've never seen a team have so many bad music choices. Look, Phil Hirsch used to shade people for having like paint by numbers music choices like a Sasha Cohen, but like hot tamale, give them Carmen, well no, they don't have the personality for that, but like, you know, they did piano.
Anything gorgeous, just give them anything balletic, and it would just be like,
okay.
Oh yeah.
Put them in the tutu like Zagitova and we'll be like, oh, they're so balletic. Yeah.
But they
are
balletic. That's the thing. Like his wingspan is incredible. She is absolutely stunning. And I'm
needs to be one of those like icy ballets where we just appreciate, right? Like
yeah. Bit austere, but like stunning.
So we'll come to these skates to like they could even just skate to like the Diamond commercial music for the shorts.
Yeah, okay. It's almost too dynamic, that one. Like even some of the French stuff, like that. Daphne
I think the Diamond commercial would work well because they have that edge to them, like they hate each other and like real sharp skating. It could work, okay?
But still fully extended and beautiful, even when they're not trying.
Yes, okay.
And she was actually delivering a lot of her jumps here. It was him who was having some really difficulty in the short and in the long on the triple toe.
You know, he's really Kozlovskiing it, okay? When Kozlovskii jumps, God bless, okay?
Yeah.
They didn't show his solo jump lesson in that Igor Moskvin documentary, only Boikova. Maybe he didn't take the lesson. I don't know.
That. Yeah, okay.
But Mishina Galliamov growing on me. And imagine, this is all because we have so many pairs bunched together because the Russians totally pushed through to devalue the quad level, like value for in the IJS. So.
And again, the ones that could probably do it, even when I still look at the Tarasova Morozov throws, there's room in there. There is no question that there is room in there, but I don't see them.
Can they work together enough to get it done? I don't.
Well, or do they need to if they're not going to get the right rewards for it anyway? Just focus on getting the triple toe under control.
Yeah. In the US, Kate Finster and Balazs Nagy split. If you pay attention to junior American pairs, which I know so many people are just like very up and up on. But not like a shocking split, but again, they were one of the teams that left Monument, and she's a brother, so maybe, I don't know if they would skate together or who knows. You never know what's gonna happen with all of these pairs, but he's on vacation with Tara Kane this week. So what are Tara Kane and Danny doing? Because they were quite behind it. Skate America, and she's going on vacation now. So what is that situation? Okay, that's just, it's not the time to go on vacation. Okay.
Well, that was one when I watched the exhibitions from Skate America, and you saw that in the opening, she was trying to do like a hip like thing, and she was totally off the beat. And I was like, well, that kind of just sums up where the inherent disconnect is. She can't hear the music to sway her body in time with it. We just have inevitable uphill battles, I would think.
Yeah, I wonder. You know, nationals are pushed up this year because they're trying to get it all done before the country is on lockdown and before Biden takes office. It's just amazing how they did the timing of that. Yes, okay. That was not lost on me. I'm just saying. Anyway, moving along to our, also, Megan Duhamel went for a triple twist on Battle of Blades this week.
And you know what? It's interesting because Vanessa James has been upping her game too. So I would imagine Megan is like going like that with her. Because Vanessa has been posting some interesting clips.
I know.
Certain throws and twists. And then it's interesting to see Megan do this. I kind of love that spirit in somebody.
Megan, you know, she practiced the throw triple sal as well. And I think she's going to do it.
Because I feel like she's a true student of the sport, so I would imagine she's very helpful to a partner. Don't you think?
I think she's in it to win it. She just loves competition. She loves
She does, but I think she has the information to explain to her partner what she needs. I think she has a real teaching ability. Like and I know they have people helping them also, but I would imagine she's a great partner to have if you feel like you're doing something for the first time.
Yeah. Well, we definitely need to watch this situation, but we will keep an eye on Battle of the Blades. You know, it's Canada,
Yeah.
It's what they have. They want like a full show. It's just, but I don't like that, Sandra, you don't include the judging portion. When you include the judge, the whole point of the show is so that we can watch the judges with them. But Dancing with the Stars does the same thing. So maybe it's a licensing thing. I don't know. But look, we want to hear Scott Moyer. I don't want to have to download illegal clips from the internet that no Americans could even see to try to like put up on the internet for people on my other channel so that like people can watch and then they can
You're making it too much work.
Making it way too much work, Sandra. Okay, show us Scott Moyer. What is he saying with the comments? He's like the Derek Huff of Battle of the Blades, and you're robbing us of our power. Anyway, and like half the comments on the videos to get them to do well is people like debating with the marks the judges gave them, being like, "I think he's too mean."
Otherwise, we're just watching exhibitions.
And
we all know how we don't like
the
those.
video gets, the higher engagement rate, the more YouTube shows it out to other people. You got to work the algorithm, Sandra. Okay.
Simple. Yeah.
You think we like to like respond to every comment when people say like mean things to us? Like, no, but it helps the video. Okay. Like,
remember when they're like, my favorite is when someone's like, Jonathan's gay. And I was like,
they love that. Okay.
You bet.
They're gonna be like, Jonathan, you repeated that vase.
I did. It's that's where it lives. I ran out of things to. How many vases do you think I can have? I have like more than 20. I think you've seen them all on TSL. But I do. They have their own Instagram page. You know.
They do.
I'm huge in the antiquing community in Europe. They're all Belgian. It's the Cateau Collector, Catteau, because it's Charles Cateau. I have dozens of followers for it. Tens of people have been thrilled to see me post the vases.
I'm watching The Crown. Okay.
How excited are you that it's back? God, is that a work of art or what?
The Diana period, right? I mean, that's what we all want.
I mean,
and Margaret Thatcher in the same season.
Yeah. It's a lot of powerful female figures entering the show.
And Nancy Reagan make an appearance. I mean, that is what we need. Okay.
There to keep kids off drugs. That's all I think of with her.
Dare taught us so much. All I knew was that Jello shots were going to kill you. And I have to say, it only made...
And then everyone's going to offer you free drugs. And I was like, what party are you going to where everyone's just offering you free drugs?
It always made me be like, don't Jello shots sound fun? I don't know.
Who doesn't love Jello?
I just don't think that you need to teach a 5th grader about Jello shots. Like a 6th grader.
Yeah.
I hope. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure in certain places you do. Anyway, it's too much. It's too much information for a 6th grader. It seemed inappropriate.
Yeah, it seems like a deep dive when we just were ready to take a tiny step. Yeah.
Some of those videos were scary. Anyway. They would always make us do workbooks in Dare that had word searches and pictures, and there would always be needles in the middle of the. Do you remember
needles, overdose, death, addiction, and you're like, this is a hoot. Yeah.
And we'd have the Dare T-shirts, and there'd be yes. Do you remember the Dare song?
No.
Dare to keep your kids off drugs. Dare. I don't know the.
Nothing worse than trying to make that kind of message sound cool and hip for the kids.
It was the 90s. You know that they did all of those things. Okay.
I know. So uncomfortable. The assemblies where some poor show choir would come in from somewhere and be like, smoking is bad. And you're like, oh gosh, I think I should start smoking because now I'm afraid I'm going to be like them if I don't.
In my parents' town, someone running for town council, maybe mayor? I don't know, there were signs, but she used to be the assistant for the choir, for the big choir in high school. And she would help with the musicals, and she would come in for some music, and they would try to get people to join choir by doing lunch choir. So you could join the big choir and take I think it was like half credit, like compared to like normal, but you would eat lunch for half the time and then sing for half the period. And I just remember that the girls did Christina Aguilera, Beyonce, and something else medley. And they had to be like, come on over. And they go, I want, and they all had like, there were hand gestures and movements. And, oh yeah, it was a vibe. Okay. Oh yeah.
It's the truth to me, Shiva.
She didn't even know. Okay.
Okay. So you were saying that Shaylin actually used to choreograph for your choir in high school? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. That's a joke. That's just a joke.
Okay. So anyway, my girl, Elisabetha Osokina, competed here. The terrible program,
wonder.
but the great free program, even though she was landing a little bit on the whole blade, and I would like her to get
She sure was. But I'm going to tell you something. Again, this happens sometimes when we watch these skaters that, again, I feel a more expansive divide between what I love about skating and what wins skating at the moment. Man, when she comes out, I am just reminded of old school awesomeness, covering the rink in like 3 pushes, like these big open skating, exciting jumps that, they're not quads. Yeah, some of them landed on the
Falco entrance at the beginning is everything. And how about when she tries to like run on the ice a little bit in the beginning when the music is going nuts?
She just gets the thing that I love about skating. And so she's just always immensely enjoyable.
Well, Alexa Knierim once said there's always a but with me. And I do have to say that her camel spin at the end, is it? But yeah. I don't know if it's a camel. First of all, she does the ugly. All of the Russian girls are trying to do this unicamel spin position this year, and none of them can hit it.
Right.
None of them are Queen Yuna. Also very rude. Like, Korea is not over 2014.
Yeah,
and neither are any of the gays. Okay.
Still waiting for the rest of your series, Dave.
I got a message this week from a shirtless gay who was like, I just want to let you know I've been waiting. I was like, oh, thank you.
Thank you. Let me drop everything.
I am working on it. We've had a little bit of busyness time. Essentially working like 3 to 4 jobs at the moment. Okay, so doing that, she then like changes position to an equally ugly camel and like tries to do a donut and like, but the foot is not getting off of the glute muscle at a certain point. It is the most horrific camel changing position spin I've seen it in some time. And I just think that she needs to watch the Gus Lucy videos and maybe cleanse herself of this ugly spin. Okay.
Because she has got so much going for her. It's lovely to see her out there every time. Wonky spins included. Like, it just captures a feeling that I am so behind.
Few little moments of choreography. I think we could put a little more little steps in there to like just fab it out a little bit more before the next.
Yeah.
She could be even more of a queen. And I think the dress should be a darker blue. I think they're muting her. She could be.
Yeah, and sometimes wasn't she also in sort of like that pale green for one of them, which I find they often do with people with red hair, and I don't know that it.
She should be in jewel tones, not in like fluorescent colors.
Yeah, because it almost makes the program seem more childish in some ways than it is. Yeah. So.
Well, how about that new Atari girl,
Daria.
Sadkova? She can twizzle. She has a really good forward inside twizzle. She could do a couple variations of the twizzles. It's every transition in her program is an extended twizzle sequence.
Right.
She doesn't like fully have the Terry technique down, but she's the Dudakov technique, but she's getting there.
And it's interesting, like as we see that camp progress, they're improving also. Mm-hmm. Like you see them instilling different kinds of things that they might have used to in their junior skaters. I think in a way, they're smart enough to know that they need people to hold positions longer and like kind of do this stuff. And I see that at least they're sort of doing their version of an effort to get that accomplished now at younger ages than they used to.
Yes, I agree.
So,
So what did you think of Akatyeva? This was her big Sofia Akatyeva. Yes.
She might be the one.
Really?
Don't you think? I don't know. Seeing those two quads in the triple axel, seeing some of her extension, I was like, her name might have entered a list in my mind.
Really?
Am I crazy?
Not necessarily, but she's got a long way to go until she's a senior.
You bet. But I was like, and
she's got a future, but I think that Veronika Zhilina has a little bit more athleticism to her jumps and a little bit more of the Tarasova in her. And the thing with Zhilina is that she had COVID and was off the ice for 2 weeks and only had a week to prepare for this competition. Because she also has a triple axel that she hasn't put out yet. And she's got other quads. And she made some mistakes here. Granted, I think that Akatyeva is much more trained and prepared to win it for this season. But I think long term.
Okay.
I mean, come on. She's already skating to like Sweet Dreams. I mean, there's just this.
Dave, that thing inside of me. After seeing like the beautiful skating of our redheaded princess,
Yes.
And then like going to Sweet Dreams, this heavy, oversexed, inappropriate song that just wears on the listener, wears on the skater.
It was so like, Russia. So right.
It was 10,000 moves every 10 seconds. And I was like, make it stop. Make it stop. It was so difficult for me to watch. And I thought, is this a leftover Atari program? Like it seemed to epitomize everything I thought maybe everyone was trying to run away from.
I don't know, but she's got a vibe to her skating. But I don't think that she's inherently musical in either program. It's kind of background music that is playing over her. She's just like a strong girl who has this like vibe about her.
Yeah, but see, I felt like in the Sweet Dreams one, especially, the music was so grating and relentless that it didn't fade into the background when I wanted it to, because she has great qualities, but just everything like seemed heavy. I don't know. And that's not, who is like, oh, I've got the perfect thing for this joyous, talented, young talent, like, and it's this dark, oppressive, heavy, I just thought it was
she is
such
an angel of Pushenka, okay? She's
I thought they were supposed to be better than that.
On what token? He literally has his son doing the sex bomb program in like a mini-me version. Like, what part of you is like, oh yeah, Pushenka's too good for that? Like, what? Where did you get class from him?
It's one that hoped that like somehow Evgenia was like saving everyone.
What are you projecting onto people? Okay, what in God's name? Okay,
to me, it would have been the reason to leave it to her.
This man gave himself his own Olympic medal. Like, what part of you was like, he is just about taste and class, and he, you know, he's a Cateau collector. He's a fellow Cateau collector.
He's a subtle guy. He's
a Belgian boss, my person. Yes, okay. He's gonna be like, me and Joshua going to the gardens this week. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know any part of this. Like, what? What are we smoking?
But you know, like when they had Tarasova, like they are, I think, trying to make a statement that they can improve her skating.
Right. So
yes. So I was like, if you have Veronika Zhilina, like, do you want her to win? Because you could give her a better program than that.
Look, there's an inherent taste level.
Or limitation. Well, it's like I was much more taken with Sofia.
There was a Tara Lipinski vibe to her where she was like, I am going to go out and hit everything. And then she like missed the triplets, which is like one of the easy elements in her program. But I don't believe
But that looked like a fluke because she just kind of got stuck in that position, right? Like she had landed it, rotated it. She had just landed too low or something. Like she was.
I don't think she'll make that mistake again.
Yes.
She'll be. And I think she knows that she needs to. For the future.
More than a tap.
Goodbye. Okay. She went out there and she did it. Okay. Skalino would say, Aloha, Молодец, doesn't matter. Deal it. Okay, like you gotta do it. Okay, like. All right.
She has spoken. Do it. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Now, it's intriguing to me, Dave, like as we were watching the pairs in particular this week, I'm assuming most of them will now turn around and do the Cup of Russia next week. So what exactly was the guise of this competition? This was indeed the Cup of Moscow that had senior pairs.
This is the Cup of Russia national. This is how they're qualifying for their nationals. Remember, usually we have the Cup of Russia final. These are just their domestic competitions, but they're making all the top people compete in them because they can't leave Russia to compete in the International Grand Prix this year because of the travel restrictions. So they're just filling the time slots on Channel 1. They're having them compete. They're giving the skating lessons stuff to talk about. And frankly, I am grateful for Russia because they're giving us the most this season.
Well, again, I love when people are like, why are you so Russian centered? And it's like, they're the only ones providing us with content.
I mean, come on, the Japanese events look like they're being held the ground round. I mean, like we used to get class from Japan. Now it's like rinks that like, it looks like that rink where Victor and Oksana were in, like Petrovsk, where there was like, needed a paint coat and okay. What is happening to Japanese skating? It's very upsetting, okay?
Yeah. And Boikova's finally given us that triple axel nonstop, but she's doing it in a less than.
I don't think we're even going to get Shoma at the NHK trophy. So it's very upsetting. No.
Yeah.
Shoma, Yuzuru Hanyu, I mean.
But hadn't you said that Lambia was potentially thinking of doing something for his skaters in lieu of the.
But then everything closed down where they are. The coronavirus is a real thing in other countries where they like close down. You think,
it has not neutralized in Switzerland yet.
Not become like the political issue of the day. So yeah, they're just, it's like a health concern. I don't know. Moving along. But we're not going to see Evgenia Medvedeva there.
Oh.
Well, no, she's got her back injury. So she'll have to get a bye to the nationals. And will we see her at the nationals? I think, will she have enough time? Because it's still.
Who did you just post on Instagram for the skating lesson page where they did like 5 cartwheels in a row?
That was Sean Sawyer. He's a Canadian.
I almost wanted to write "Eat Your Heart Out, Evgenia." That was, of course, her downfall at the Russian.
Rude and true.
Yeah.
Rude, but true.
Yeah.
It was her gloves, she said. She wore the wrong gloves.
Which were Nike sponsored, by the way.
Now, granted, if she had prepared that program properly, she would have known what gloves she needed.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Rude, but true.
There it is. Yeah.
Rika Kihiro would never.
She would never.
You know who else would never? Sadkova. It would never happen, okay?
Right.
It would not happen.
Yeah.
This girl has given us the wrong gloves, the wrong boots, like lots of drama, but that's why we love her, okay? She gives us 100%. Billie Eilish, yes, all right? She's a real Russian. We like her.
But I have to say, the Rostelecom Cup is going to be a really good one.
It is going to be good.
I'm ready. Really looking for a lot to shake down, a lot of interesting things. I mean, it's really where the competition's at anyway.
It really is.
Save an occasional Japanese singles skater. Almost exclusively. That's the only people that will be missing. I think it will be really interesting to see how a lot of this shakes down.
I know. We're also not going to see Stepanova and Bukin, this is interesting. Are we ever going to see them compete again? So we've got Sinitsina, who has got a knee injury. And then we have Stepanov and Bukin. They've had injuries. They were in Germany over the summer for something. And they both are... Someone has had COVID in the camp, or maybe everyone has had COVID. And can he go to the Olympics? There's a lot of question marks with this team, losing a lot of momentum. So that's trouble.
And it's too bad. I mean, again, I'm aware of their limitations, but I was never bored. I always enjoyed them in the lineup.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Are we going to?
And then I guess just Tiffany and Jonathan. So.
And And now Frenchna, Tiffany Jonathan, and Queen Annabelle Morozov, excuse me, the Princess of Pakistan.
But so you're saying Sinitsina is not going to be competing?
Well, I don't know if she is. That's the thing. She's
Okay.
had a knee injury, so we don't know. She's a question mark.
Okay.
I mean, come on. I would like to see Russians skate a very tone-deaf program to Michael Jackson. I think that could be fun. What do you think could be the most ironic songs? Like Pretty Young Thing, Dirty Diana. Think of the fun we could have.
Smile. He has that.
Why
smile.
do they always love
That's
Smile?
creepy. I mean, it's a lovely song, but Michael Jackson singing it is like 8,000 times creepier.
It is the creepiest version. Smile. No, the only creepier Michael Jackson songs are Heal the World.
Make it a better place.
With all the kids from around the world. It literally looks like you're in It's a Small World at Disney World when he's at the Super Bowl. Like, heal the world. As he's like grabbing his crotch. Make it a better place. You've seen it. Jonathan, you saw it.
I know I have. That's why I'm cringing.
It was the year after Brian Boitano and Dorothy were in the Super Bowl halftime show doing Winter Magic. Okay. Then other, when only Michael Jackson could like get in trouble for like safe sport type things and then be like, I should write a song called Childhood. like
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
Oh my God. I think skating fans are like a lot. However, the Michael Jackson fans take the cake for internet crazy. And why are they always German? Like, why do the Germans love him so much?
Well, I remember when I was in high school,
Japanese.
the confusing thing was how much the Germans were into David Hasselhoff, like as a singer.
Yeah. Well,
what's going on with that?
He'll be ready whenever you need him. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
It's like, are you also into Pamela Anderson as an author, or like, what are you doing?
Yes.
B. Arthur reading the Pam Anderson book selections at her Comedy Central roast is one of my favorite all-time moments in comedy. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Just so much has happened.
Yeah. It's interesting because now the pairs event at Rostelecom Cup will basically be a repeat of what we just saw.
Let's just read. We'll read it out. Okay. I'll read out as we can just be like, this was not the Skate America thing. I mean, okay, the 2020 Rostelecom Cup. We've got a couple of fake Azerbaijanis, a Katerina Ryabova, who's like really Russian, Anastasia Galustian, Victoria Safonova from Belarus, which is Estonia, Eva Lota Kibus, I don't know her, Alina Urushadze from Georgia, and then we've got Anastasia Gulyakova, Alyona Kosrnaya, Elisabetha Nugumanova, Sofia Samudurova, Anna Shabakova, Alexandra Trusova, and Elisabetta Tuktamisheva. So that is a intense battle.
Yeah, those four. I mean, okay.
Respect.
And the men will be very interesting.
Oh yes, we've got Dmitrii Aliev.
Yes, but we've got
He just not bother to shower or shave, but he's an artistic soul.
He's too busy feeling things.
He's got one hand and he feels.
He does. He's the emo one, and Kolyada is the gorgeous one. Yeah.
Peter Gumenik, Makar Ignatov, Artem Kovalov, Andrei Muzolov, Aleksandr Samarin, Roman Zavozin, and Evgeny Semenenko. Okay. And we've got Mauricy Kvitishvili with wonderful technique.
European bronze medalist.
Alexander Lebedev and Vladimir Lit. I don't know. He's Azerbaijani. Okay.
Okay, great.
I don't have my glasses on. Okay. Then in dance, in pairs we've got Akatyeva, Kolosova, Artima. Let's see. We've got Boikova and Kozlovskii, Mishina Galliamov, Benfilova, Rilov, Bebelova, Pleshkov. No Tarasova Morozov. Interesting.
Oh,
I forgot. They were
really?
supposed to be Skate America. That's right. That is right. They were supposed to
Well,
be.
you'd think they would squeeze them in. They're there.
I don't think that they could realign this year.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, that's too bad. That seems silly.
You know what?
We'll be
We're gonna
interested to see
Allysa Reed. Wait, Allysa Reed is going to be Lithuanian skate. She's an old friend. Okay, she skated with like Otar Japaridze, like all of them. Okay, she was a hack and sack queen.
Do you think Boikova is coming out on top here, or do you think Galliamov is going to be able to repeat? I think Boikova will.
I think Boikova. But Mishina Galliamov, I think it'll be a good competition.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'll just miss that lift from Tarasova.
Throwing down. It's really Tiffany versus Annabelle, and that Elisabetha Kurodarbedieva in Igor Bazin. She's and Sinitsa and Katsalapov are still listed.
They're still listed. Okay.
So yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for this Russian festival. It's like almost as good as Russian nationals, but not quite. It doesn't have quite the drama, but
yeah, because we're missing all the juniors. Yeah.
Wait, we are going to see 2 exhibition performances at Rostelecom because Atari has to get her 40%. Okay.
Right.
We are going to see Alina Zagitova hopefully performing that Esmeralda program again. I loved it. And Victoria
Boikova?
No. So,
Helgeson?
Volyeva. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, I think we need Elena Radionova, okay, and Elena Ilinik from that we should have performing, okay.
Yes, I would be behind a Radionova special escape.
Come on, she could redo so much drama to welcome us for this event.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm ready. I'm ready for some good skating. Let's go. French.
Dave, what was your moment of the week?
Moment of the week. Well, Nathan Chen's quad loop was impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to say it was really like the pair event at the Moscovita pairs at the Rostelecom just made me a believer again.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And for me, I was trying to remember what they call the lift. I always have to look up the codes every now and then. Like, it was the Tarasova Morozov. It was like, I think it was like 5ALI4. It was the lift that came right after the throw triple loop. Just gorgeous. And the way they put it down and her position in the air, you're just like, oh my gosh. Wait, did you say French nationals are this week also?
Well, I say they're canceled.
Oh, they're canceled. So the opposite of happening. Okay.
Why can't they just do those virtually? Like, they literally have like 5 skaters of note.
Just someone film Kevin.
Papadakis and Cizeron, Jonathan.
Yeah,
also, one of the moments of the week was his birthday and that picture of him in the silver glittery jeans. I think that was a moment as well.
A birthday moment.
I was like, where does one wear those pants? Like, what do you wear
on Instagram?
Yes. Holding it to look sexy, everybody.
Bye, guys.